What's going on, everybody? Time for YouTube recap, and we got a once in a lifetime for me. In the last 14 years of trading, I have never seen a 5-minute gap stay open, which is exciting. We had some really good short calls today. Our biggest one was anything under VWAP. That's impossible to see on Garbage X. This platform is so trash. Yeah, there's no way to like enhance it or anything like that because, again, this is the worst platform. So on the way back down, but we posted here anything under VWAP. You can read it if you're on the PC. I'm assuming you probably won't be able to see it on the tubes, but anything under VWAP down to the 1618 was our magnet today. We called that one. We nailed up another, that's about 6,000 something on this, and then we had another 800 on our other accounts, and then we blew up one of them, and I'm going to show you where. So we did, these are all locked out and perfect. So we still had a 6,000 400 plus the other day, plus another 400 plus the live account. But we did cook one of our accounts. So let me show you where first, because reds are where you actually learn the most. So today, for the first time ever, 517.52, half whole dollar right here at 9 a.m. And this is what I journaled about. It was really weird that it happened at 9 a.m. You can't even see the bottom, which I'm trying to show you here, but let me move it back a little bit. There we go. I was trying to show you 9 a.m. right here at the bottom, and then it came up right here. So being right on the hourly change, this is what makes me believe that this was the reason she didn't fill. So 8:55 to 9 a.m., obviously in a 5-minute chart, you're going to see that transfer, and that's where that candle to candle left the gap at 517.52, okay? And it's only about a penny gap, right? And it's on the 5-minute. If you go to the 15-minute, it's going to be there, obviously, because it's 8:55 into 9. So every candle up to the hourly should have this on. Here's the 1-day hourly. And again, see the gap indicator showing you right there? Every one of those. So I think that's why, because generally speaking, you know me in gaps. That's one of my favorite things to chase algorithms. It's my favorite targetable offense. There's so many things I can do with gaps. It's just an amazing strategy. This is the first time in 14 years I've never seen one, but this is also a 9 a.m.er, and I've never seen it on a 9 a.m., 5, 15, 30 hourly. So we got two very interesting takeaways to journal about and think about here on this gap. So and my thought process is the only thing I'm looking at is, okay, it's a 9 a.m. candle. It might have been a fluke on TOS where the exchange data, of course, might have been different. I'm not going to go get TradingView or another broker or anything else because it's going to be different. TradingView is useless for that, so don't even bother unless you're using Anchor View apps. But this is the realest data you can get. So I'm thinking it might just be a blip or it's going to be a targetable gap. So let's show you. So when I'm looking into, this is the gaps from... are the gaps, the high lows from today. Where is my regular drawing? I did on YouTube, did I? Nope. Volume profile? Nope. Fib stuff? Definitely not. 1, 2, 3. Nope. The less than one. We knew it was there. Just the last one we picked. Okay, so we got a little busy of a morning here. So this was our short. Anything under VWAP, short to the 1618. Now, the 1618 was here. That is yesterday's high low. And because we started in a gap down, here's yesterday's lows, 523.89. See that blue dash line and the gold level? That's yesterday's lows. That means price action opening up here below yesterday's lows is a gap down. So we have a gap and go, and we are not going to use yesterday's golden pocket, of course, because we are outside in extension land. So you know my favorite protocol, when we are inside the prior day, we look for the GP. When we are outside the prior day, we are looking for extensions. This is a retracement. This is an extension. We have videos on this every Saturday live. We teach and teach and teach Fibonacci and how to draw them, and what to look for is a lot of those videos. Go check them out. So we seen the magnet coming to the 1618 because we were nowhere near yesterday's high low. We were a gap down. So I shorted anything under VWAP to the 1618, right? So we got under there and to the VWAP, and then I put out this weekly target for our crew, weekly GP final shorty target, and that's what we posted for the day. So we posted under VWAP down to the shorty target final for me today, 54.6 points. That's where we gained our $6,400. But then we popped an account, right? And we didn't really actually lose, because this is a good takeaway, and again, an explanation for funded accounts. I didn't actually lose anything. We got 2 payouts from this funded account, so it's $200 to go from Combine to Express, the top step. It's $50 for the account, $150 for the Express funded fee to open her up, and then you got to trade 5 days for $200 and you get a payout. Well, I already pulled out $2,800 from this account. So when we popped it on this long trade trying to fight it back up here on that last account, we actually didn't lose anything. We have $2,600 in and we blew up a $200 account that we already pulled $2,800 off. So that's the best part about funded. That's a big takeaway there. It never ever hurts after you get the payout, especially a couple $1,000 because it's only a $200 account and you've already withdrawn almost $3,000 from it. So no harm, no foul. We activate the next one and off and away we go. So that's a good takeaway from the funded, being, risking only $200 accounts and getting tons of pay from those small accounts and just having no real risk in the live. So my expectation was the 5-minute gap fill, 5, 15, 30 hourly, just like you said. And as you see on the screen, these are my expected bounce points. This is what I put out for the chat. And I was like, man, I really want to see it bounce from the weekly, come back to the 5, because I have never seen one stay open. First time in 14 years. Okay, what did we learn? Well, 9 a.m. is the precursor for that. And again, this is a rare gap in itself because 5, 15, 30 hourly generally does not all perfectly line up with a gap there. Obviously from 8:55 to 9, that means anything on the hourly and under is going to make a gap, even the 1 minute. So, because it was on that perfect one, and we have one right above it as well, right here. So we have a 1 minute gap at 5:17.88, and then directly under it, another 1 minute gap. And I put the 100%. I was like, she's guaranteed to fill at 5:15. I've never, ever seen it. But the first phrase, and something I talk a lot about in our chat as well, is the market always does that until it doesn't. And that's the first quote I ever learned that burned me in the stock market 14 years ago. And it still applies to this day. So again, it wasn't really a big whiny crybaby day where I lost a bunch of money in a live. There's nothing we couldn't manage in the big account, but we did blow up one of the expresses. But again, we paid it out, so not really a loss. If we come down to, let's delete some of this stuff, where I wanted to see it, let me show you. All it was a 5 minute to the weekly, wanted to bounce back to the VWAP or 5 minute gap, and then 2618. This is from yesterday's high low, again, for an opportunity to come back to the gap. Those are the 2 gap plays that I left on. We had 5 greens, and then this one was a red. So 5 good, 1 bad. And this one just did not bounce for whatever reason. We had the perfect mint short day. I shouldn't say for whatever reason. We had tons of psychological news where a lot of different cases were coming out against Trump saying, hey, we just got off the phone, no deal. Hey, Trump has a deal next week, no deal. Hey, Putin's ready for peace. Also, unfortunately, not as great of news coming out when not everybody's on the same page. He's assuming Kiev needs to be on the same page for peace. They had a bunch of news pieces just all circulating, and all of it was just no good. No good. So we'll see what happens in the coming day. What's next, right? So we lost that account. Well, technically, we got the payout, no big deal. But what do we look for tomorrow? It starts with the volatility index. So if you were watching last night or the last week or two, we've been talking about the 2 gaps on the volatility index, okay? And what we've seen here is after that huge run, we left some cluster gaps up here. Can't forget about those. We came down and we have 1 gap right here in the mid 20s, 1 gap right here in the mid 30s. And we said, man, last week's consolidation holiday week was absolute nonsense. The VIX is either going to come for a 10 SMA loop, which means the action, this is the 10 SMA in the blue. When the action in price comes through a moving average, it generally loops back up and then down. So we could see the VIX back into the 40s if this sell continues here through the gap. But for now, we need to just watch the gap and the fills, because right now that open, we said, had a chance to push towards the gap. And well, there's that gap. The last time we tagged it was 2 days ago, and this is where we created it. So this gap tag was generally the first time we tag something. So if a gap is created on the daily and then the VIX runs towards it, the first time something tags a gap, generally, more often than not, we reject and go the opposite way. This was the second attempt. So this was one we said that VIX has a really good setup at the open to actually go long for the VIX. And that's what we wanted to see, was that drop. It just never bounced. It doesn't matter what price level you use. We had complete algo grip on the stock market. It was completely algo controlled sell. You can see it on the 10 SMA 1 minute. So that grabbed the VIX's attention back to the gap and even higher against all oscillation indicators. So again, this is one of those days where the market does whatever it wants. It doesn't care what we think. It doesn't care what the indicators think. At the end of the day, we need to take statistical advantage trades and monitor them, right? So I was talking trades right here on the VIX, lower high, lower low setups on the RSI, leading the MACD to that downside. The moving averages didn't cross, but we were getting those weak waves and a nice RSI. And notice that it does not care, not one bit. Nobody gives a crap. Goes straight up back to a hotter hot and then down to the 50. And this is the 50 tag I was talking about in chat that I wanted to see, where we could see the VIX fall down to the 50 and then bounce, leading to a market bounce to fill that 5-minute gap. Unfortunately, it did not happen. The no RSI tag here ripped her back up to a higher high RSI, then finally tagged it. And you notice it finally gave up with the moving average crosses and this after 10:30:11, like we always say. So the Euro algo has to close right between that 10:30:11. The other algos and EU shut off, and that's when we actually got to move. And that's what we said also in the chat. And of course, the bounce did not happen. Don't get me wrong. 10:30:11 a.m. the bounce started, but the algos just grabbed that sucker and slammed her right back down. And what we were talking about just before is you can see that controlled algorithmic manipulation on the 10. We call this a controlled sell. So when we leave so many golden pockets untagged, so many multiple gaps, we have 2 right here on SPY that you guys are going to want to mark down for tomorrow. We just seen it walk and it just held the 10, and it wasn't even manipulated until like right here around 9:30. We popped off that weekly and the algos grabbed it and it just stuck to the 10 SMA. Look at this. No over, no under. Never got too far, never got over it until what? 10:30:11, like we always say, the algos shift and let go. There is the let go, and then slams right back down further. So today was a very brutal grip of algorithmic equality. It just goes to show you that we always say the market can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Doesn't matter your GP, VWAP, Fibonacci strategy. At least we got some green out of it. So if you want to join us for those live trades and our narration, we got the link in the description. Come hang out with us. If not, we have the YouTube recaps. Please give me a comment and I'll cover anything you guys want. And coming up to this Saturday's lesson, we are doing 2 giveaways because I was busy with the kiddos. Why is it like that? Easter stuff on Saturday, and we did a live stream on Sunday. And I totally forgot to give out accounts. So we're going to give out multiple winners. We're going to double it up for whoever wins. You comment, you make sure you're subscribed, and I'm giving away $100 cash money on Saturday, 12 Central. So leave a comment, make sure you're subbed, and hop in for that. And we'll catch you guys on the next recap.